Hola, mi nombre es James y este es mi sabático. Bienvenidos a mi Thinkatorium. El día de hoy, nosotros estamos en mi sala mexicana porque quiero demostrar mi español para ti. Entonces, yo he tomado Baselang Grammerless I desde el 8 de junio hasta el medio de julio. Y mi español es muy más bueno. Yo puedo hablar sobre muchas más cosas y mi Spanglish es muy bien. Pero aún necesita aprender muchas más palabras. Pero es okay. Entonces, por ejemplo, mi esposa y yo nos encanta los cruceros. Okay, so as you can see, I still stumble through my Spanish. It actually works much better when I'm actually having a conversation with somebody. It's actually harder to speak in front of the camera and think about, I guess I'm having to think about what to talk about as well as how to say it, so it kind of slows me down a little bit. So, some quick things about Grammarless I for those of you who are thinking about maybe you'd like to do that. First of all, I'll make it clear that no, you will not be conversational at the end of the class. That's their guarantee. Now, technically, are they lying? No, they're marketing, and they build it up. Technically, could you have a conversation? Yes, I could definitely have a conversation at the end. I'd stumble through it. It would be limited for a couple of reasons that I'll talk about. But would I say it was worth it? Absolutely. I wouldn't call it zero to conversational. I would call it a great jump start. But of course, I know that's not nearly as good of marketing. There's a lot of things that you can do to speed up the process, to learn faster. And of course, immersion is key. And everybody says that. The more you can immerse yourself into a language, the quicker and easier it is to learn it. Now, how do you immerse yourself? Well, there used to be a time that the only way to do that was to go someplace where everybody speaks the language. And that's probably still the best way. But today, when the whole world is connected by the internet, and you've got music and videos and live people that you can interact with, that can make all the difference. And I learned a lot in Grammarless. And it is encouraging to relatively quickly be able to speak and understand. So that kind of helps you to kind of stay with it. The problem is, especially if you do it in the 4 weeks like me, is there's no getting around practice. You have to practice, and you have to have a lot of practice. And that's hard to do in a short amount of time. And the more practice you do, the better you're going to be at it, and you need to immerse yourself. You will not be able to spend the 2 or 4 hours a day in class and do nothing else and be able to speak Spanish at the end. Have a conversation, even a minimal one. You might be able to have a very minimal one, but you have to have time outside of class. There's other things you need to do. And the big one is to practice. Another one is to build vocabulary. That's something else that only comes with time. And there's a lot of things you can do to build vocabulary. There's first of all, practice. As you practice talking with people, you're going to pick up more and more words here and there. Obviously, flashcards or flashcard programs like Memrise or Anki Deck. Anki Droid is the Android version, so that's what I always call it. Language Lords has, which is a YouTube channel. The guy there has an interesting system that I wouldn't mind giving a try for learning a lot of words, and also learning how to be more, how to improve your recall, to be more fluent in the sense of not having to stumble like I do and things like that. It takes a big time commitment, and that goes back to my point. There's no getting around the time when it comes to practicing. I have learned a lot of the concepts and the tenses and how they work, but it's just not real fast to call them up right away. And I can read better than I can speak or listen and understand, because when you got something in you visually, it just helps. But still, I've learned a lot. As far as the price, there's one site I saw that reviewed Grammarless and Baselang in general and just thinks it's ridiculously overpriced, which really kind of surprised me, because I kind of signed up because I thought it was the best bargain. And if you look at what they call their real world class, like the normal way that they do it, it's $150 a month for basically unlimited classes. Now, again, that's a little bit of marketing. Technically, you could have unlimited, but you'd have to find a professor at that time slot, at the time slots you want. Now, there's lots of professors and there's lots of time slots, so it's probably not a big deal. But of course, as this website said, and it's true for probably every website, some of the professors are better than others, and some you're going to click with and some you're not. So finding the professors you want, or especially if you want to try to use the same ones, because that might help you get through the process. But if you think about it, if you go on to italki or not La Lingua, I can't remember, Lingoda, which is one this site promotes or encourages, you're going to pay more. You're going to pay at least $10 an hour for a lesson. Well, with Baselang, if you have 15 lessons a month, then you can, it'd be $10 a lesson. And of course, if you have more than that, then it'd be less. Grammarless 1 is $900, and that's certainly, a big chunk of change. However, you're getting 80 hours, so it's a little over $10 an hour. But you can also sign up for classes with the other professors to practice your Spanish, and also if you're having trouble, with your main professor, that understanding it from the way they're teaching it, maybe another professor can explain it better. I think it sped up the process in some respects, because even though I haven't taken the class, I use some other sources. The Language Tutor, which is a channel on YouTube that I like a lot, and Duolingo, and some other things too, and some other SpanishDict.com, I think, DICT, and different ways of showing a concept, and sometimes that can really help, because you have trouble one way and then another way you see it, and it's much better. So same thing with you having a different professor. So really, you could take, if you did your 2 hours a day, and then 2 hours of other professors and everything, on the same days, and you did twice as much, you get 160 hours for 900 or 800 for Grammarless 2, in which case you're talking maybe like $6, somewhere around $6 an hour. So if you're really committed and you're going to put in the time, then it's actually a bargain. If you're going to sign up and not use it, then yeah, it's a lot of money for nothing. And I'm surprised, because professors have told me that they've all had students, several students, who sign up and don't come to class, don't do the homework, just quit eventually or something like that. Or they think they don't have time to work outside of class. And that's the mistake. You've got to practice. You've got to find time outside of class. In my case, I was devoting the majority of my time to doing this class. This was priority. There's other things I've been working on. If you follow my channel, you know that. But even those I cut way back after I got into it, because I really want to learn this, and I want to learn as much as I can this summer. So with that kind of dedication, you can get very far. So all in all, I would definitely say it's worth it. And it's a great way to learn a lot of Spanish in a slow time. But you're not going to be fluent. Now everybody has a different meaning for fluent. But you're not going to be fluent after the Grammarless 1 or probably even Grammarless 2. However, you're going to be very truly conversational, or probably conversational. Definitely, as one professor told me, communicative. You can communicate. You can have basic conversations and communicate when you're in Mexico or someplace like that. You can get your idea across, and you can generally understand theirs, especially if they talk slowly, and of course if you're reading, and then you can think about it more. If you're reading a technical bulletin or a piece of legislation or something, a novel or something like that, no, you're not going to be able to do that, obviously. Obviously, the longer you work at it, the better you'll get to it. My goal is to be a B1. I would like to be a B2, but at least a B1 on the CEFR scale. If you're not familiar with that, look that up, and that'll tell you, where you're at. Grammarless 1 is supposed to get you to an A2, and I'd say it does pretty close, or at least gives you the tools you need to be at an A2, that with practice you can be. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting, and please leave comments. Let me know what you think, or if you have any other questions, maybe I'll try to answer them in a future video. Obviously, I'm going to try to do one after Grammarless 2 as well. Thank you for joining me for this adventure, and I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time. Thank you.